Over in the Marvel Universe, some of the best titles that the publisher has to offer right now consist of the vast X-Men line of titles. I think this is really helped by the nation state of Krakoa serving as a hub in which the X-Men currently operate out of. And in the seminal House of X Powers of 10 storyline from Jonathan Hickman, R.B. Silva, and Pepe Larraz, we saw the X-Men establish a governing body called the Quiet Council to ensure that the mutants were operating, from a place of upholding their values, like protecting all mutants. However, the X-Men decided that they would sit some of the most powerful mutants on the Quiet Council, including villains like Exodus and Mr. Sinister. So my question for you is, how long before one of the key villains from the Quiet Council defects and creates a sort of nightmare scenario for the rest of the mutants? My name is Arco Braddock, and today we're going to explore just that scenario in the pages of Immortal X-Men number 10. But before we dive deeper into the video, want to go ahead and encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button if you enjoy our content. And without further ado, I want to introduce the context behind Immortal X-Men number 10 by reading the very short solicitation text for the issue. Charles Xavier always had a dream, but one man's dream is another's nightmare. This one will make you wish you could wake up screaming. And let's go ahead and introduce the creative team behind this issue. This issue is written by Kieron Gillen, illustrated by Lucas Werneck, colored by David Curiel, lettered by VC's Clayton Cowles, and we have design from Tom Muller and Jay Bowen. I want to go ahead and show off this gorgeous cover over for Immortal X-Men number 10, illustrated by Mark Brooks, who's drawn so many important covers in this kind of modern X-Men publishing line. And let's take a look into some of the interiors from the issue. I want to start things off by just kind of explaining and recapping what happened in the last issue with kind of like as few spoilers as I can. So we all know that essentially the Marvel Universe is heading into the Sins of Sinister event, within the pages of Immortal X-Men 10 and several other titles in Marvel's publishing line. And this issue is really just kind of devoted to kind of fleshing out Mr. Sinister and kind of showing a little bit of what his plans are. I love the fact that Kieron Gillen keeps introducing kind of plot twist after plot twist that Mr. Sinister does. And I think that a lot of readers are going to be assuming that, some of what he's done in Immortal X-Men 9 and 10 would be all of Sins of Sinister, because Mr. Sinister committed such heinous crimes in those issues. However, the true event has not even begun yet. And the Prelude issues have featured such a great way to sort of build up the animosity between, Mr. Sinister and the rest of the X-Men really, really nicely here. So I don't want to spoil why Mr. Sinister is in the crosshairs of all these X-Men, but that really is kind of the main driving force moving this issue forward. And I really enjoy some of the artwork in this issue from Lucas Werneck. Lucas Werneck draws so many characters in this issue, and I really think you can tell just from pages like this alone. And, Werneck is drawing characters who are not usually part of the Immortal X-Men cast either, I think, thanks to such kind of a large scope, and because this title is kind of heading towards a kind of like smaller event. I'm not sure if Sins of Sinister is going to be like a full-scale Marvel event with, tie-in after tie-in after tie-in. I think this is going to be a little bit more contained within the X-Men universe in general. But I really like kind of the characterization that Werneck brings to all of his various figures. And I wish we had more kind of preview pages showing off Werneck's art, because I think a little bit deeper into the issue, you get to see some great composition skills and just kind of how Werneck is, going to be able to become one of Marvel's premier artists, because I don't quite think Werneck is there yet due to some issues with kind of like composition and characters. But I really like some of the fluid movement And I really enjoyed when we got a little bit deeper into the issue, and there were so many characters on the page drawn with such incredible precision over from Werneck. So I know that there's some great things on the horizon as this creative team is drawing and writing Sins of Sinister as well, which is going to be kind of huge cause for celebration. And this issue, just like last issue, really kind of tries to keep you guessing, as Gillen is not ready to reveal Mr. Sinister's full plans, but we get a whole bunch of puzzle pieces in this issue as to what he could be planning. I loved Immortal X-Men #9 and the way it kind of opened with our team coming to grips with everything that happened with Judgment Day and trying to like pat themselves on the back. But Marvel's publishing line always needs to drive home a sense of conflict. And I feel like this, great sense of conflict doesn't feel derivative because of all the tight and precise plotting across these issues. If Sins of Sinister was self-contained and if Judgment Day was self-contained, it would be so much harder to read these stories. But because these stories sort of naturally flow into each other with several kind of character beats and progression, and because Sins of Sinister, it really appears to be almost a sequel to Judgment Day in some respects, is, I think, a core reason why this issue is just so interesting and captivating, to begin with. And also, because of some of the other cliffhangers, in other series regarding Mr. Sinister, I kind of had a clue or, maybe something to go on, judging with how the cliffhanger in this issue was going to be revealed. But still, just seeing the final cliffhanger, seeing where, Gillen and Werneck are looking to take this run has me really, really excited. I see so much potential in this crossover. There are so many little elements of plot that, maybe they've been characterized in Immortal X-Men. Maybe they've been, brought together in X-Men Red. Maybe they were explored in Hellions. But there's just so many plot elements of this issue that kind of come together from other series, from past issues of Immortal X-Men, and really kind of make Immortal X-Men 10 stand out from other titles. Even though kind of the core conflict of this issue is made up of Mr. Sinister, I don't think that this cover is deceiving, because it does seem like in some perspective that, Professor X, Xavier, is just having trouble coming to grips with Krakoa because it's constantly under attack by, so many different outside forces. I mean, I think I'm even at the point, I think author Kieron Gillen has even convinced me at this point that there may not be a step forward for Krakoa in a more casual setting due to all of the horrific violence that's been caused, from this issue. So I have no idea if the X-Men are going to be able to pick up their pieces and assert, the dominance that they had when we were, going back, right after House of X and Powers of 10 were done. The X-Men felt like they were on top of the world. And then, just a couple Hellfire galas later, everything just started to completely fall apart for the team. So those were my thoughts on Immortal X-Men #10. I think this is a really great issue, and there's so many strong thematic elements that come out here incredibly nicely. If you are super invested in the Sins of Sinister event, this is a great place to be. I don't think the X-Men have been this well written in like decades. So really getting a nuanced and precise X-Men run full of so many different titles and kind of keeping that characterization together from, a story from a couple years ago is just absolutely enthralling. I cannot wait to see where Sins of Sinister goes next. And I'm so curious as to kind of where some of the cliffhanger is going to be resolved in this issue, because I see this Sinister problem now, and it's bigger than the X-Men even realize. So I want to know from you, did you like this issue as much as I did? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you as excited to check out Sins of Sinister as I am? And are you excited that Kieron Gillen is kind of getting to flesh out and expand his X-Men run, with the character that I know is near and dear to his heart. Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and we will be back very, very soon to cover everything Sins of Sinister. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.